Kennedy or Nixon was being very careful about lying. Like I say, Kennedy had astronauts. Um, I think there might have been a dog named Astro. I don't know what astronaut really means. Nobody. Actually, I asked one time, and someone says nobody knows what it means. That's the point. Um, anyway, though, but they did start calling the pilots that went to space Astros for some reason, or astronomers or Astros or something like that. Because we really didn't have a name for them other than pilots. But an astronaut could be, a space pilot could be the same as a ground pilot, though. So you really didn't know. There was no particular designation saying you are this. Anyway, but Nixon and a bunch of other people had the Apollo program, which was Apollo and Fido, two dogs basically, Apollo the dog and Fido the dog. And I had to ask about this to find out about this. But basically, there's the Apollo radio show, which was like a space radio show or something like that. Anyway, so they wanted to be like space and at the time it's kind of cute. They're 15-year-old kids and they just want to do whatever and they want to do something. So at the time it's kind of cute and kind of innocent. But they decided to have astronauts. So because they're astros, but they're not astros. So technically, they're not lying. No one's lying. It doesn't really matter if you're lying or not about a stupid radio show. But basically, they had astronauts. So because they're like space pilots, but they're not space pilots. So anyway, yeah, I guess that's where that comes from. Really, is astronauts. Because I was just putting it down there because the second word cancels out the first, and everybody knew that. So I mean, yeah, so basically basically they had a model of a spaceship and they had some people pretending to go on space missions. But the problem is they were actually going out and killing people and actually doing death thing with all kinds of weaponry. So they would record their radio station for 72 hours, and then they would play the Apollo radio show for 72 hours or 24 hours, sorry. And they would play that, and then they would have that on a timer. So that would be sitting there waiting, and then they would be in another country, and they would be shooting out the place, doing all kinds of stuff, and then click, the radio show would come on. They'd be like, "Hello, it's the Astro radio show," whatever. Anyway, they would say whatever, and basically people actually thought that, and I think they might have said, "And this radio show is live, coming right at you." So people thought that they were in another state on the radio when they were actually out there shooting up and having sex and doing drugs and basically stuff like that. And the recording would play, and they'd have commercials and everything like that, and they would shut off. Anyway, I forget I think they would have a whole week of running audio or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. It was more, it was actually a real radio station, so, or at least a real radio thing. I think it was somewhere, I forget where it was. Anyway, though, but that's how that's what they were doing. That's what Apollo and Fido and the Apollo radio show was basically they would pre-record things, and then like them walking on the moon, and they're actually walking through a grassy field and stuff like that, and or pretending to walk through a grassy field instead of a sound studio. I've seen some information about it, about where they were supposedly, or what was going on at the time, or something like that. I've seen some stuff because I wanted to know, and I was like Lucifer LS, Lucifer Star. Basically, I asked, and I got some answers. So anyway, so it's complicated, and basically it's Kennedy and Nixon and at least the Papa and everybody else, and even Bill Gates, because like I say, Bill Gates had the shells, the LS shells. They found them in a museum or something somewhere, and then they started using them. So anyway, it bridges to there, and like I say, Bill Gates apparently was the guy inside of this teletype room that they held everyone hostage, and they were bullies themselves, and the husband of the boyfriend of the girl came to talk to them, and basically they got the gun away from him, and then they shot him, and then they had sex with the teacher and had sex with all the girls in the room, and ended up shooting some other boy or something like that wanted to stand up for one of the girls, and then when the cops came in, they said that that they had wrestled the gun away from the other kid, and he had shot everyone and done all this. Anyway, though, it's complicated, and semen samples would obviously tell that they were both liars. But basically Nixon was protecting liars and all that other stuff, and pretty much Nixon was like, yeah. Later on, Bill Gates would be doing the Alfa Romeos and all that other stuff. So and it gets all complicated. So anyway, and it's just a big pack of lies and stuff like that. That basically led to so much pain and death and everything else. But the thing is, nobody really knew about all this stuff going on in the world until after it happened. So, and then I had to go and figure it out and clean it up. So, and I find out about it more literally as they try to betray me and also have ships built by 1.5 foot tall people on Mars, or I think it was on Mars. Yeah, the 1.5 people were on Mars, I guess, and the little guys. There's pictures of them. Like there's a picture of one of my pilots. And next to and on him is this little guy. It looks like a mannequin, but it's a little guy, and he's got like a little Hawaiian shirt and a little hat, and he's a real life form. They're real. Anyway, so Bill Gates or someone contacts the Mars or whatever behind everyone's back and has all these ships built and all this stuff built, and they put down standardized life form. So the 1.5s build the dome, build everything, and build the ships for a standardized life form. Anyway, later on, I believe they nuked the site to cover it up or whatever. But anyway, though, a lot of that stuff, nuking it really won't change it much. Anyway, oh well. It's all in the past. It's all over with, as they say, and basically done. So anyway, yeah. So that's all everything that's basically kind of what's been happening. Bill Gates was like trying to hack or trying to type, but he wasn't doing a very good job or something. Like you can communicate. Mostly you could print out, as a teletype room, you could print out schematics for different things. So that might be where he got the LS shells or Lucifer Starlight shells from. Is you could print out the computer stored information on records and also on like inventions. So you could print out some things. So maybe he found a way to get into the records of the ammunition supplies or something like that. I don't really know exactly. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, yeah, he was hailed as a good Irish lad and all that other stuff, but he wasn't. He was a foreign exchange student or something like that. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, yeah. So, confusing thing, like when Bill Gates says, oh, that's me in the teletype room, it's like, oh, and you can research back, and it's like, oh, yeah, the teletype room where all those people died, they shot the boyfriend, which I believe was a cop or something like that, I forget, and they also shot the teacher. They tried to say the boyfriend was a gangster or a criminal or something like that, and it was pressuring the teacher or something like that, but it wasn't true. She was actually that was her boyfriend, and he was a police officer, and actually had served on the force for quite a few years, and she was a very cute girl, and whatever. Anyway. And there's drugs involved in all kinds of stuff. And I think one of the other kids had drugs or whatever, and they shot him and then started smoking his drugs, or something like that. I don't really know the details of it. So you'll have to look it up yourself. But basically, Ireland and teletype room. That's another thing most people don't know is in Ireland, and it was a teletype room in Ireland. So I believe, or England somewhere. And that's how Bill Gates, and then later on, he's doing the shells for the Iraqi war. Basically, the star, his father, or he's the guy who helped them make the Starlight shells. So anyway, and realistically, a lot of those were actually already in storage. There was like 120 or 300 of them in storage, basically protected where no one could get to them. And I'm sure they killed the guards and then stole them and whatever.